The lefty media really excited today. New York Times headline, Kamala Harris visits abortion clinic in historic first. I think a lot of people have been to abortion mills. I don't know if that's a first. They say that it's the first time a president or a vice president has gone to an abortion mill during their time in office. So it's an historic event for that for some reason. This morning, the reporting on this made it clear that I saw Axios had a report on the subject, made it clear that the reason for this is because Harris is, quote, is trying to generate enthusiasm for the Democratic ticket among Black, Hispanic, and young voters. So going to an abortion mill is apparently the way to do that. That's the thinking out of the White House, to the extent that there's thinking at all here. Encouraging those groups to kill off their children, which is awful, just horrific. And here's Kamala today standing inside of this Planned Parenthood abortion mill in St. Paul, Minnesota, being herself.
I've heard stories of and have met with women who had miscarriages in toilets, women who were being denied emergency care because the healthcare providers there at an emergency room were afraid that because of the laws in their state that they could be criminalized, sent to prison for providing health care. That's
not true. That's a lie. I guarantee you she's lying. No doctor turned a woman away who just experienced losing their child to a miscarriage.
So I'm here at this health care clinic to uplift the work that is happening in Minnesota as an example of what true leadership looks like, which is to understand it is only right and fair that people have access to the health care they need, and that they have access to health care in an environment where they are treated with dignity and respect. And please do understand that when we talk about a clinic such as this, it is absolutely about health care and reproductive health care. So everyone get ready for the language. Uterus.
What?
That part of the body needs a lot of medical care from time to time.
Who taught her that word just before this press conference?
Issues like fibroids. We can handle this. Breast cancer screenings. Contraceptive care.
Here it comes.
That is the kind of work that happens here. In addition, of course, to abortion care.
Oh, and by the way, that too. I love how she tacks that on at the end, like it's just like, oh, and something else, abortion care. All right, moving on. You realize the entire economic model of the abortion mill she's standing in is abortion, and she calls it abortion care. Have you ever heard such an absurd phrase? It's like saying funeral care. What is she? Death care. Okay. Mary Margaret Olohan is here. She's a senior reporter for the Daily Signal, and she's a visiting fellow for the Independent Women's Forum. Joins us now. Hello, Mary Margaret.
Hello, Vince.
Wow. Okay, so you've got Kamala Harris goes to this abortion mill in Minnesota, and the thinking is that this will be very politically attractive to Black people. What is the White House thinking here?
It's a very insulting thinking if that is what the lines they're going along, and it does seem like that is what is going on here. First of all, that clip of Harris talking about the abortion clinic that she went to and the importance of taking into account the health care of women is just so laughable, because she's at an abortion clinic where the main thing that they're doing, like you were saying, is perform abortion, so abort unborn babies. And her careful inclusion of the word abortion care shows you that she's been in very close contact with a lot of prominent abortion groups lately that have been telling her how to use language. And she literally said in that clip, language is important, right before she starts talking about uteruses. And she's right. They use specific language to talk about this and to redirect the conversation. If you notice in the State of the Union last week, Biden was really careful not to say the word abortion. He'll say reproductive rights or talks about IVF or birth control, but they know.
In fact, in his prepared remarks, apparently the word abortion did appear, and he refused to say it. He tried to euphemize it a bit and not refer to abortion directly.
Right, and he knows what he's doing there, and everyone is aware also of the implications of talking about abortion. Of course, Biden has a little bit of a complicated relationship with abortion, since as a so-called devout Catholic, which the media describes him as, he is in direct conflict with the Catholic Church's teaching that abortion is a crime against human life and ends the life of an unborn child. But in this case, Harris has no such qualms about abortion, and she is literally the first vice president or president to darken the door of an abortion clinic that literally exists to abort babies.
Well, she's an abortion enthusiast, and so she's using her time as the vice presidency to emphasize that. But in doing this, you know, she listed off a long series of things that she alleges a Planned Parenthood actually provides to women. But it's been my impression that actually Planned Parenthoods don't provide almost any medical service to women, do they?
Planned Parenthood has most recently made a name for itself by luring young teenagers to get their hormones to try and transition. So that Planned Parenthood is obviously their focus is on abortions, but they have more recently been profiting from helping young people go down this horrible path towards gender transition, which many of them regret. And they're giving them testosterone, estrogen, giving them prescriptions, and basically greenlighting them for this really traumatic journey on a gender transition. But we know that they also do many, many, many abortions.
Yes.
To represent that is not what they are about is farcical.
Right.
And the implication that this is healthcare rather than ending the life of someone, it's not just farcical, it's manipulative and it's purposeful.
Yeah, it's not. It's totally dishonest. So if the primary point of your business, to the extent that you can call Planned Parenthood a business, is to kill off babies and to sterilize children, then how could you say they're anything but genocidal? Like it's that dark what they're supporting, and Kamala Harris is doing that today. They say it's a historic first. There's a reason that no president or vice president has ever tried to do this before, because typically in the past the public has been horrified by that concept.
Right. I mean, who wants to see the vice president of the United States going to a place where they dismember babies routinely and celebrate it? That's just it's unthinkable. And I think the reason that we've gotten to this point where she feels like this is a good political move is that the media is so complicit in whitewashing and how we talk about abortion and how we even think about abortion that she knows that it will be painted in a way that is popular for her.
Yeah.
For example, I know yesterday, Yamiche, is that her name? Yamiche from
Yamiche Alcindor.
Yeah, she was tweeting about this visit. You know, I'm sure she's one of their favorites. So they gave her the scoop on it. And she tweeted calling this abortion care, I believe, or no, abortion services. So she says, Vice President Kamala Harris will visit a clinic that provides abortion services in Minnesota tomorrow. Sources tell me that they believe this will be the first time a president or vice president has ever visited a clinic that provides abortion services in U.S. history. So her sources, aka the White House, gave her this and gave her this wording and told her this is how you should be talking about this. And she, as a member of the wonderful media that we have today, absolutely follows their lead and frames it as abortion services.
Right.
If she were honest, she might say, this is the first time that anyone has ever gone to an abortion clinic, but that a president or vice president has gone to an abortion clinic, which is typically considered a rather unsavory place where they kill babies every single day.
Yeah, it's too obvious. It's too obvious to voters, which is why they haven't done it in the past. Maybe, I don't know, maybe their control of the media is going to help them here. So in other words, Yamiche is not going to report on the claim that Harris made today, which I just flagged, which is this idea that women who experience the loss of their child through a miscarriage, doctors are turning them away. That's what Kamala Harris claims. She's heard stories of women who've been turned away from emergency rooms after experiencing miscarriages. Have you ever heard of such a story? Is there anything grounded in reality in that claim?
No, this is misinformation that has been perpetrated by leftist activists and leftist lawmakers since the Dobbs decision, in which they're trying to say that doctors are afraid to give women proper care for their pregnancies and their unborn babies because abortion is now restricted in some states because of their pro-life laws. And it's absurd because every good doctor knows that they're allowed to help a woman who is undergoing a miscarriage. You can't kill the baby under certain state laws, but of course you can help a mother who is miscarrying her baby. And frankly, it's so so evil to conflate these things, because I'm sure everyone who's listening knows someone who's experienced a miscarriage. It's incredibly sad. It's traumatic. It's really horrible to lose your baby in this way. And it is completely different than a woman who purposefully goes to abort her baby, whatever her reasons are. That is a purposeful act. Now, maybe she's coerced, and so it's less purposeful than we would think, but it is not the same thing as a miscarriage. And abortion proponents and leftist, media and consultants know that conflating these things is going to play on our emotions, and that's why they're doing it.
Yeah, the miscarriages, by the way, super common. I mean, I sometimes you get together with husbands and people talk, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize." It's everybody. Lots of miscarriages out there for sure, and it's always awful. It's always awful. So what is with the left targeting minorities for these abortion mills? They build them in minority communities. Kamala Harris goes to St. Paul, Minnesota. The Axios says it's meant to quote, generate enthusiasm among Black and Hispanic voters. Why does the left so aggressively target minorities to abort their children?
Well, I think they aggressively target minorities to abort their children for multiple reasons, some of which are very racist. I think that there is an attitude towards specifically Black females that they need abortion, which is completely untrue, and it is insulting. And I think Tim Scott, the senator from South Carolina, had a fantastic response when he told a Biden administration official who said that Black women need abortion. He told that Biden administration official that his mother, who is now the mother of a sitting senator who ended up running for president, his mother would disagree with her that Black women need abortion. So he and I think his response there ended up going viral on social media for a good reason, in that it is insulting to anyone, any minority, to suggest that they need abortion because they are a minority. That's outrageous. And so, but we're still seeing that, for example, there's many Planned Parenthoods in minority areas of cities. We often hear statistics or messaging that Black women especially need access to reproductive health care. Why should a young Black woman feel that she needs reproductive health care, aka abortion, more than I do? That's insulting. She has every ability to take care of a baby the same way that I do, and there are people that will want to help her, want to support her.
Yes.
She just needs to find the right resources.
Yep. So yeah. And there's a huge constellation of organizations that dedicate their lives to that very thing, especially these crisis pregnancy centers all across the country, widely demonized by the left. That's the principal service they provide, which is to take care of mothers and their newborns and to provide them everything they need to get started.
Exactly. They literally exist to help women, but you know what Planned Parenthood will say about these pregnancy centers? They consider them competition, because if you go to a pregnancy center, you're not going to go abort your baby at Planned Parenthood. You're going to receive help. You're going to receive a car seat. You're going to receive food, maybe some baby formula, pamphlets for you to get back on your feet and get a job, or for your husband or your boyfriend to get a job. Yep. And Planned Parenthood knows all of this. And so they say that, and I'm quoting here, pregnancy centers exist to shame and deter women from getting abortions. So they're so honest about it, but at the same time, they're purposefully attacking them. And then, of course, big tech is on their side. So big tech will hide the pregnancy centers in the search results, and they'll promote Planned Parenthood if you search, like, what do I do when I'm pregnant? It's so deceptive. And,
it's all deceptive. And what you just described is those pregnancy centers are literally encouraging women to bring their children into the world. That's rather than turn it into some sort of pejorative. Meanwhile, on the issue of Planned Parenthood targeting minorities for abortions, that has been the legacy of that organization. Margaret Sanger is infamous for her eugenics and her attitudes towards minorities, and she's the founder of Planned Parenthood. And it even led Planned Parenthood of Greater New York back in 2020 to disavow Margaret Sanger. In the midst of all of the George Floyd chaos, it became too much. Planned Parenthood tried to distance itself from its founder, and unfortunately continues to carry on her horrific legacy to this very day. It's grotesque. Mary Margaret Olohan, thank you as always for covering all of this with aggression. I really appreciate your time today.